Now, it's been a while since I've been this excited for a FDM 3D printer. Now, this is the Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro, and it can print up to speeds of 500 millimeters per second. So let's check it out. Now, first, I do want to thank Elegoo for sending this over to me for a review, and I have done plenty of stuff with them before, which is their SLA printers and the Neptune 3 as well, so I'll leave a link to those videos as well. Now, first off, I gotta say they've done an amazing job with this printer. Now, this is the Pro version that we are reviewing, and it's on sale now for $299. There's also the Neptune 4, which is the non-Pro version, for $249, which you will still be able to achieve speeds of 500 millimeters per second. Now, compared to its predecessor, which is the Neptune 3, this will make that look like a village idiot. And now I'm not even kidding about that. Now, to talk about the specs a little bit, this is 225 by 225 by 265 height, which is similar to the Neptune 3. Now, it does run its own ARM64 processor in here, which is a quad-core Rockchip 3328, running the Klipper software, along with a 32-bit 84 megahertz microprocessing unit. So yeah, it definitely has an operating system inside. And to be honest, the Rock 3328 is actually more powerful than the Raspberry Pi. So yeah, you have that embedded into this machine. It also has network support and has a couple of USBs up in front, so you can connect devices to it like a USBs to read the G-code, or you can hook up a webcam to the front and have the Klipper software do time-lapse if you want. If you're familiar with Ambient, that's what's actually loaded into the Neptune 4. So you could actually SSH into here, configure some stuff, maybe set up some network shares if you want. So it is very powerful in itself. Hence what I say makes the Neptune 3 look like a village idiot, because it runs its own ARM64 CPU. Now, this is the Pro model that we have, and there are a couple of differences between Pro and the standard model. Mainly the X and Y axes have been upgraded to these dual rails. So there's a rail up here and a rail on the bottom. It also has partitioning heat features for the bed. So it actually has two zones, the center and then the outer zone. So it actually keeps everything all level while heated, compared to the Neptune 3, where the heating element was actually more towards the left side. And if you are gonna print something really large, the right doesn't get as much heat as the left side. So this doesn't have that problem. The nozzle can also go up to 300 degrees Celsius, and the bed could go up to 110, and there is a 130-degree heat protection, so I'll actually shut it off if it goes too hot. Other than this is being a very, very fast printer, I do like the fact that this is a direct drive. I've talked about this before on previous videos for 3D printing. The direct drive just allows you to print different types of materials that you can't do with the Bowden. Also, the downside to this is that this has more weight than the Bowden drive, but it actually doesn't feel too heavy for this nozzle head. Also, compared from the Neptune 4 and the Pro, this does have a LED strip up on top, so you actually have full flood lighting when you're printing something, and you'll be able to see whatever you're looking for. But both still have a LED by the nozzle. It does come with a remote control that's magnetically held on, and so you could actually move this around and control it. But most of the time I'm actually using the network to control this anyway, so I don't really actually touch this controller. It also has 36-point auto leveling system, which is much more accurate than the Neptune 3. And if you could see from this mesh, you could see that the back side of this is actually a little bit lower. Now, one thing they did upgrade from the previous version is that you can now adjust the bed itself with these dials, which is one of the problems I actually had with the Neptune 3, and I'm glad that they resolved that. Is one of the sides of the bed is a little bit higher than the other on my Neptune 3, and there's no way for me to adjust it. But this, you could actually correct the bed first and then do the auto leveling, and everything would just dial down really nice. Also, I know I mentioned this before, because we are using the Klipper software, you can hook up a USB webcam to the front and actually get footage, or set it up as a time lapse if you're planning to do that. Overall, they just kept the profile the same, but they dialed everything up by like 11. Now, I did a couple of test prints over here, as you can see. So these are the vases or vase, and I'm using the vase mode or spiral mode. So it only uses one layer on the outside, just so it could print as fast as possible. Now, this one on the right is printed with the Neptune 3 at 80 millimeters per second. This one is printed with this printer, the Neptune 4, at 250 millimeters per second. This one all the way to our right is printed with the Neptune 4 at its max setting around 430 millimeters per second. I tried to push it to 5, but it started to get sketchy. So 250 is their recommended speed. It will go up to 500 because you got the acceleration and deceleration, so it does surpass the 250 as you're traveling. I also did a little A/B testing, which is this little sheet I have over here. Now, on Neptune 3 printing this model out, It took an hour and 13 minutes, average around 75 and peaked at 400 watts. That's when the bed is heated. And then it uses a total of 0.15 kilowatt hour. And that was what I was more interested in. Does this use more power because it has to push more voltage to the motors? Now, here's the interesting bit. This is 250 millimeters per second, took 22 minutes to print, using 0.09 kilowatt hours, and averaged around 130 watts, and peaked at 450 when the bed needed some heating. Now, on the highest speed that I ever got it to was about 430. I'm just gonna say 400. It took 16 minutes to print this piece out. Took only 0.07 kilowatt hours. Average wattage was about 250 and peaked at 450. But to show you the side of this model, as soon as it started going that speed, you can see it gets a little sketchy and it skips some parts, especially when it has to decelerate and accelerate again. The extrusion just could not keep up. So depending on what you print at 400 and above, you might have to check the models to see if it's able to even do it. Something like this, definitely not. But if it's just a circle, I think it should have no problem. Now I also printed this Benchy, which only took about 35 minutes. So if you ever printed a Benchy before, it takes about an hour and 14 or an hour and 20 minutes, depending on your printer, at 80 millimeters per second. And this took half the time. So with this high speed, depending on what you print, it's almost half the time of standard printers or maybe even faster. Now, as far as sound goes, this thing gets pretty loud. Even though the stepper motors are low, it's the fan that actually gets extremely loud because of the speed that it needs to be pushing the filament at. It needs to be able to be rapidly cooled. So the fan in the back, which has 4 blower motors, causes majority of the sound. So hear it out. So if you're concerned about the sound, yeah, this does make a lot of noise. Now, I did wish I had this printer earlier so I could do more A/B testing on this graphic card that I was working on with the blower motor, because I was printing multiple samples of those and it took an hour and a half each time. With this, it would have took probably 45 minutes, which is half the speed, and I would have had more fun doing it. After the initial bed leveling and getting everything done, it just worked perfectly. I switched between a couple of filaments. This is a glow-in-the-dark one. I had a red one. I had put in a white one as well in here, and filaments wasn't a problem. Since the bed could be heated up to 110, you should be able to print ABS with this as well. And with the direct drive, it should help a lot. I highly recommend building an enclosure for this because the blower motors will just blow the ABS smell all over the place. So don't even do this indoors if you're gonna use ABS, or at least slow down the speed by a lot and turn off this big fan in the back. Then you'll probably be able to print ABS, but at high speeds, I wouldn't recommend it. Now, there is a network port off to the side, so if you hook this up to a router or you hooked it up to your hub, you should be able to get internet access on there. There's also a menu for this to get the IP address. Now, I did hear that Kepler should be able to do Wi-Fi if you install a Wi-Fi module. I have not tried this myself, but it is possible. Since it is a full operating system in there, I don't see why not. And if you guys are familiar with Fluid or Kepler, you might be able to do a lot with this. So highly recommend checking out the Kepler firmware. Now, if you're familiar with Octoprint, that's basically what this is. It's a network-enabled software to control your printer. And it has a lot of features in there. Especially, I like the dashboard of how it looks. You can upload your G-code files over there, change different settings. Also, it has a history of all the prints that you've done and what the print times are. Yeah, the software is pretty powerful. It has a G-code viewer, has a lot of settings that you can change. You can add plugins in there for time lapse and everything. There's so much you can do. Like, it's basically Octoprint on steroids if you ever played around with it. And also, if you never played around with the software, you could download it. I'll leave a link to the Kepler software, and then you can load it up to your Raspberry Pi and hook it up to a printer that you already have. So ultimately, this is a huge step up compared to any other printer that I've tested so far. And it's actually making me have second thoughts about starting an Etsy store, because this is so fast and it produces everything so clean that it is highly possible. As far as the quality of the prints, I don't see much difference between the 80 millimeters per second from the Neptune 3 and the 250. After doing a Benchy as well, I did not see the stringing that I would normally see on other printers. So yeah, it actually came up really, really nice, especially the layer lines on a layer height of 0.15. It just does very well at 250. All right, that is it for me, guys. Everything will be linked down in the description below for the regular and also for the Pro. Again, $249 for the regular and $299 for the Pro. And if you are to get it, I highly highly recommend getting the Pro because of the heating bed element and a few other adjustments and improvements that they made, especially for this rail. You're going to see this printer on this channel a lot more just because I'm going to be printing a lot more because it's a lot faster. Anyway, that is it. If you guys have any questions about this, hit me up down in the comments below. And if you guys are new to this channel, consider subscribing and also hitting that bell notification icon so you know when the next video is going to be out. And I say in my nerd cave, hack till it hurts.